Good morning.
Good morning, coffee moaners. Welcome to our channel. If you're new here today, Coffee Moaning runs Monday through to Saturday, where we sometimes have a lot of hilarity and fun. We always talk about news events, but it's very much from our kitchen table and from our hearts. And we have a brilliant community here. So please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you can be notified, and really helps us out. It's just the two of us. Now, today is going to be a much more serious show than we might normally do, because we are sticking with Gaza today and the latest atrocities. I know as a movement, I know that people are really hurting. The lies and the brutality of the Israeli government and the IDF is each day takes our breath away in a new way, that there can be such cruelty and such evil. And as a family and as a community, we're heartbroken, aren't we, Mark?
We really
Absolutely heartbroken.
I want to start by just reading one comment that I think probably represents quite a few people feel here, what we feel here as well, from Emma Louise Winter. I feel so relieved to have a community of people I can share my sadness with and feel heard.
Oh, thank you so much, Emma. And as Mark and I have said many times over the last couple of years, I don't know how we would have carried on without having some sanity here. Amazingly, for Mark and I, what is just so important is that the amount of times people have said to us, I would have just gone through my life not knowing anything about this. And that's so meaningful, isn't it, Mark?
I mean, the weird thing about it as a family is, of course, we've followed the plight of the Palestinians for, well, since Dot. I mean, your dad's followed it since the Nakba, and as the first Nakba in 1948, and so, you know, it's something that's always been there as a pulse in the background. And something else that's always been there as a pulse in the background is a knowledge of just how apartheid-like the Israeli state has been in its treatment of the Palestinians, and that was prior to October the 7th. It was prior to 2005. It was, you know, it's just been, there's been a long continual history of a very one-sided representation of the conflict and the situation in Gaza, in Israel, and in the West Bank. So, you know, I think, so we had a sort of an awareness of it all as October the 7th happened. And so, you know, that wasn't the first day for us. But I do think that for the vast majority of people, for huge thousands of people in this country,
millions,
they have been quite literally awakened, perhaps in the same way that many people had. Oh my God, what's this awful atrocity on October the 7th? Interrogated it, investigated it, learnt the history, found out more, and realized actually, oh my God, okay. So this is part of a continuum, isn't it? It's part of a long-term conflict. But I mean, for us, this has been an invaluable place to share our feelings, to share our frustrations, to share our heartbreak. But also, more importantly, I think one of the things we try to do is pick at the way in which the news and peck at the way in which the news delivers this story and delivers this crisis.
And this genocide.
So this morning, I've been up since about 7, just kind of going through it. It happened last night. I posted a couple of stories last night as I went to bed. And this is obviously the tragic story, which is in most of the papers, to be fair, most of the mainstream papers, and it's all over Instagram and independent media.
And that's why it's so important to keep sharing, because as there's over 180 journalists that have been killed over the last 2 years. And part of why that's starting to be reported in the newspapers is because of the pressure of social media, is because of the uprising of peaceful people wanting this to be treated and reported fairly. So you have power by reposting, by following accounts, you know, make sure they're good accounts of, you know, and honestly, otherwise this would be all completely in the dark, what's going on now.
And also, to that extent, I just want to also, again, some great comments there. Tina Smith, yes, I literally knew nothing until October 7th. Then I did my own investigating and cannot believe what's been hidden by the mainstream media. I mean, I think so many people have, it's been a shock. It's been a shock, really, for so many people. It shocked us, and we weren't as surprised, but it's really shocked us. And also, the other point that Nadia makes about following accounts and everything, as unedifying and difficult as it might be, like yesterday, I went live. Numerous of you were there. Thank you so much for coming onto the live, contributing. And obviously, I played some extended clips from Benjamin Netanyahu's press conference, in which he wanted to puncture the lies of the mainstream media in the West. So, you know, from Israel, from Netanyahu's perspective, the mainstream media over here is supporting Hamas. I mean, can you believe how skew whiff is that when we're sat on the other side of the kind of fence thinking, well, hang on a minute, it's kind of almost quite the opposite. They're allowing you to get on with this genocide.
Anyone that in any way disagrees with anything that this monster does is immediately accused of being Hamas or being anti-Semitic. And it's wearing thin, Mr. Netanyahu.
So let's give you the nuts and bolts of the story this morning in case you don't know what's happened. Five Al Jazeera journalists, including a very prominent reporter, Anas al-Sharif, who we have quite a number of clips of and from, have been killed in an Israeli strike near Gaza City's Al-Shifa hospital. Al-Sharif, Anas al-Sharif, the journalist, and another correspondent, Mohammed Oreka, along with cameraman Ibrahim Zahir, Mohammed Nufal, and Moamen Aliwa, were in a tent for journalists at the hospital's main gate when it was struck, Al Jazeera stated. The targeted assassination, said Al Jazeera, was yet another blatant and premeditated attack on press freedom. The Israeli Defense Forces, however, haven't denied it. They've confirmed it, saying that Anas al-Sharif served as the head of a terrorist cell in Hamas. Now,
with zero evidence.
With zero
because
evidence.
There's never any evidence. And now they don't even try and pretend they've got any evidence. Just their word is enough.
In the spirit of transparency, they did claim, I think about 6 months ago, to have uploaded onto X materials that confirmed how complicit he was in this. The Guardian failed to be able to verify this. So it's the same old line. We blew up 25,000 people because there was a Hamas operative. We blew him up because he could have been Hamas. Who's going to verify it? Who can get in to verify it?
Because the only way that we get any information that the Western, depending where you're from, media report is the information that the IDF give.
Exactly.
I mean, it's just outrageous.
All of this has an extra sinister chitty bang bang child catcher nastiness to it, given the fact that only yesterday Netanyahu said, in that way that he always does, in that sort of almost, oh my God, I forgot myself. Of course, maybe you haven't got the mission statement. We're going to allow the world's press in with the IDF from tomorrow. So off the back of him saying that the IDF will escort journalists into a war zone, which isn't journalism, sorry to kind of puncture anything.
True journalists are those ones that put themselves in the line of fire. I cannot believe what we have witnessed, the courage we've witnessed over the last couple of years.
But it strikes me as particularly sinister that off the back of that yesterday, we have 5 Al Jazeera journalists targeted and killed with an alibi already printed.
Mark, do you feel like it's almost goading? It's like he makes that announcement and the next day they kill these 5 journalists.
I tell you what this entirely reminds me of. It's like when the Palestinian filmmaker, was the co-winner of the Oscar. He was immediately set upon by settlers and arrested by the IDF. When there was the documentary that was screening at Cannes, in which it featured a photojournalist, a Palestinian female photojournalist, her and her family were killed the day of the screening. There seems to be a grisly, sinister sort of serendipity going on.
No, it's so out in the open. It's like, do not think for 1 second you're going to get away with it, any of you, for telling the truth of what's going on here. I pray. Do you think there could be an uprising today of good journalists across the world from wherever they are? They don't have to be there saying, enough is enough.
I'd like to ask this question of journalists around the world.
I'd love to know that.
Especially the many journalists who forever are banging the drum of impartiality, neutrality, report the facts.
Is it impartial if you only take news from the army?
Precisely.
From the occupying army?
And let me just show you. I want to show you this. This is what I posted last night. Go to my stories on Instagram. I'm at Mark_Adderley. And if you follow the link that's beneath this screenshot, you can complain to Sky News. But look at this.
We got stuff changed before by doing this.
This is a kind of backward way around. We're going to show photos of Anas, and we're going to show some really quite triggering, difficult footage with a pre-warning of the immediate aftermath of the strike that took these journalists out. But I just want to give you a sense of that tilted journalism. So this was last night. I think you'd already gone to bed, babe. The original headline did not parrot Israeli propaganda on Sky News. The headline was, last night, I saw this, Gaza latest, Al Jazeera journalists killed in Israeli strike. That is a statement of fact. That's what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Shortly after that, a little bit later, after Israel issued a press release, Gaza latest, Al Jazeera journalist killed in Israeli strike, IDF claims one-headed terror cell.
Oh.
See that?
Please,
so there's validity to only
complaint.
one side.
Please put in your complaint. Please put in your complaint. Do you remember when we got the Sky headline changed before?
Yeah. So I'm going to show you an image of Anas al-Sharif. This is him with, I think he might have had more children. Yeah, two children.
He's very young.
Very young, yeah. Yeah, this is an image of him. This is a piece that he wrote before he died. Shall I read it, or do you want to read it? He says,
If my words have reached you, that you know that Israel has succeeded in killing me and silencing my voice. God knows I gave all my effort and strength to be a support for my people, from the alleys of Jabalia refugee camp to the front lines of truth. I dreamed of returning to Ascalon with my family, but God's will had me live the pain, taste grief, and witness loss again and again. I never wavered for a single day from conveying the truth as it is, without distortion or falsification, hoping to be a witness before God against those who stayed silent while our children's bodies were torn apart. I entrust you with my beloved wife, the mother of Salah and Bayan, steadfast like an olive tree, patient and strong in my absence. Take care of her. O God, count me among the martyrs. Forgive me and make my blood a light that illuminates the path of freedom for my people. I have not changed. I have not altered. Do not forget Gaza. Do not forget me from your prayers.
Yes. He was a poet as well. He was a writer, a poet. So I want to put a bit of distance between that remembrance and what he's written there and the actual footage of what came through last night.
You could see his little girl.
Yeah, we could see his little girl. Why don't we're going to show this clip.
This was made before he died.
أنا الطفلة سام أنا الجسدي من زمان قطاع غزة أنا عمري 4 سنوات عشت طول الحلق يهود تصفونا وتصف الطول الدنيا بتشي وقت في الحلب نفضل عطانا في زبايا يهود تصفونانا وقتلوا سيكا نفضل عيش زي أطفال العالم يهود تصفونا تاني بدنا حلب تخلص سنة تعبنا بدنا قتل بدنا زاز وبدنا لحمة بدنا صلب بدنا كل حاجة أنا خايفة على بابا من نتصل إحنا بدنا نعلم كده ناس العالم خلصوا الحلب.
So sinister is the Israeli regime, so sinister is Netanyahu, so sinister is the IDF. I wouldn't be at all surprised if they target the rest of his family. They are so unspeakably evil, this government, this Israeli regime. It's so unspeakably evil. You know, let's not forget, Israel have announced the full occupation of Gaza, starting with Gaza City. What are they removing first and foremost? The ability to report anything, the bravery of reporters in that situation. So what are they doing first? Preemptive strikes. Let's knock all the journalists out. Then they'll presumably completely compromise all of the medical, limited medical facilities that have managed to kind of get back onto their kind of knees. So that's clearly what this is. This is a strategic move. We have also got the final post by Anas al-Sharif. And then I'm going to flip over to, if it's okay, Greg Stoker, who talks about the logistics perhaps behind how they targeted him and why they targeted him and what way they did it. But this was what he posted, the last thing he posted online, which is footage of just distant bombing. Now, I looked at that. Now, that's just a shot. He's obviously probably in his tent. He's probably looking out. That will have been giving off coordinates, leaving him vulnerable. Because don't for a minute think that the Israeli army don't know exactly where everyone is all the time. Oh, that sounds very much like, a digital concentration camp, if not a literal concentration camp. So, but I was just reminded just in that moment, that was just an incidental clip almost over his shoulder through a fence. The sound, what the Gazans have got used to.
It's
unrecoverable from.
I'm just looking at
trauma-wise.
Children Not Numbers, is my my beloved charity that I'm ambassador of, and I we pass messages back and forth all day. I've just received some photos, and of today. Children you can't even believe, and they're saying here, we don't put these photos on socials. But maybe that's, it's just unbelievable. But they said, with all the talk of the famine, people have stopped talking about the bombing, which is relentless.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And children literally are blown out of their parents' arms. Children are blown to pieces. And that constant bombing, as you say, Mark, the constant quadcopters going, the constant drones. I mean, there's a message here from somebody, saying about it's just unfathomable that no other country is stepping in, no group of countries. How can there not be anyone stopping this when I've got a photo here that's just come into me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 children piled up dead. 9 children piled up dead. That's just this morning. I'll get a lot more than that through the day. And these are the people, these journalists. If it hadn't been for these extraordinarily brave journalists through these 2 years, we would not have known. And is there going to be a Western journalist across the world that is going to stand up today and say their bravery, their undeniable courage?
Well, that's why, a lot of you were saying under the clips of Netanyahu yesterday, he is, when I say this, I don't mean it in a complimentary fashion. I mean it he is masterful in the arts of manipulation, gaslighting, obfuscation, focusing on this in order to avoid this. I mean, he's
it's almost like, are they pleased that there's the famine because it takes our eyes off the bombing? And America's bombs that arrive and there's shiploads every single day. So
we have to be really careful about this qualification that Israel have delivered. Let's not forget. Many times in this crisis, I've heard intelligence representatives, former intelligence agents, former members of our intelligence agency, former members of American intelligence agency, all saying Israel routinely lies when it comes to Palestine. They routinely lie. This is chartable. It's provable. So when they lie, you can't trust anything. And Israel has brought that upon themselves. That's not anti-Semitism. That's not the world. That's not us all falling into a pit of Hamas propaganda. Israel has brought this is like the child that is forever crying wolf. And eventually you stop, unless you're America. Eventually you stop and you go, well, maybe it's just a few too many times here. And you're right. Someone just said that one clip there was possibly the clip that, they will have known where he was. They've been tracking him for days, weeks, months.
Yeah. Greg Stoker.
I'm going to play you Greg Stoker in a sec.
Let me just tell you who Greg Stoker is, though. He's an American left-wing activist and US Army veteran. We've been following him throughout. He's quite extraordinary. Actually, watch a long interview with him with Miriam Francois. He's so interesting. He was special operations. He was with the US Army in Special Operations Command, after which he became left-wing social media commentator and a massive critic of the army and the US Army and imperialism and the way they have taken over the world and caused so much misery and death and
and an outspoken critic of Biden and Trump and, you know, just the system. So if you want to find him on Instagram, he's Greg J. Stoker.
He's so interesting because he really knows the ins and outs of, like, he'll watch videos and say, this is literally an army of children, the way they're approaching this, the way they're approaching that. He always talks about what an immature army is, doesn't he?
So have a listen to this.
Happened, folks. The forces of Team Genocide are uniting to accuse me of stolen valor, which is where you lie about your military service. The Misfit Patriot and our boy...
Oh, that's the one I got sent. Sorry.
No, that's the
I'll
send you it again. We need to see it.
Yeah. Whilst you send that to me, I'm just going to read through some of the headlines and comments that other people have made. Prem Thacker, between a No Other Land crewmate filming himself being killed by a settler, which happened last week, to a journalist being killed by airstrikes he was covering minutes earlier. I'm not sure how much more televised Israel's genocide can be. Greg Stoker, to be clear, Israel put Anas on a death list with other journalists last year, but he was protected by the size of his platform. They tracked his cell phone, his every move. They could have killed him at any time. This is the guy that we were going to play the clip.
Do you want me to?
They only chose to now because they determined the information blowback from assassinating him would be less than if he were alive to record the invasion of Gaza City. That's very powerful.
Do we want the video?
Yes, please. Moving on.
Shall I airdrop it
if you
to
can?
This is very live, guys.
Israel kills leading Gaza journalist. These are just some of the headlines that have been reported today. Anas al-Sharif, prominent Al Jazeera correspondent, among 5 journalists killed in Israeli airstrike on Gaza. Netanyahu defends the Gaza City plan as UN warns of calamity and starvation. Jeremy Corbyn has stated, do apologise, just one second if you could read that.
Jeremy Corbyn, the deliberate and relentless killing of Palestinian journalists is sickening beyond words and is a desperate attempt to silence the truth about Israel's ongoing crimes against humanity. Shame on all those who empowered Israel to murder with impunity. That's the word, impunity.
I'm going to move you on to this next quote from Mehdi Hassan.
So Mehdi Hassan, also follow him. He really is such a sane and clear, brilliant mind. He can debate anybody. He knows his stuff. Mehdi Hassan on Instagram, on Twitter. Also, he's what's his
Navarre, is it? Navarre?
No. It will come to you.
Yeah.
I remember that when George Bush bombed an Al Jazeera office in Iraq, killing reporter Tariq Ayoub, it was a huge scandal. In Gaza, it's been normalized by Netanyahu, aided and abetted by Biden, Trump, and Western media. Absolutely. There you go. Zeteo News, Z-E-T-E-O, Zeteo News.
This is the Zeteo.
Yeah, so it's the YouTube website and Instagram.
This is the clip from Greg J. Stoker. We'll just suddenly.
If you know that a group of journalists was just intentionally targeted with a kinetic strike by the Israeli military in the Al Jazeera journalist tent in Gaza City, because they do their targeting operations based off cell phone signals. So somewhere, someone in the targeting cell was like, all these journalists are here, drop it. And it's hard to do a battle damage assessment based off of this video, but it's clearly, there's no crater, it was not a bomb. It was most likely a precision munition like a Hellfire missile shot from a Q-9 Reaper drone. As you can see, there's no blasted terrain. Okay, so basically, I've been tracking this for a long time. When they go to kill journalists or aid workers, they use precision munitions like this because they want to be able to see the bodies, see on thermal imaging the heat go away out of the bodies so they can confirm that they're dead. You can't do that if you're trying to kill a high-value target with a bomb because it just destroys everything. There's a drone somewhere circling above, making sure all of these guys are dead. This strike was not about leveling Gaza. This one was to kill the prominent journalists reporting the genocide. So, rest in power, y'all. And are there any quote-unquote Western journalists that would like to say anything about this, about your colleagues who are being, as a matter of state policy, targeted and assassinated specifically so they don't do their jobs?
So there you go. You have a guy who understands the militaristic aspect of it, talking about how they're targeted, talking about how they want to monitor the thermal heat of the bodies as the life goes out to them to ensure they've hit their targets. That's why. To
ensure that nothing is reported.
Well, no, yeah, but to ensure they're dead.
Yes, that's what I mean.
Yeah. But also, I mean, and that's why it's this kind of knowledge, this kind of intel, this kind of understanding, which is why Israel rapidly came out and acknowledged responsibility and claiming that he is a Hamas operative. The same argument that's been used for nearly 2 years whenever anyone of journalistic, medical, innocent, when anyone is killed, Hamas. It's a tired, predictable, destroyed, completely meaningless accusation and justification. He is brilliant. He gives you a really intricate understanding.
At Greg, yeah, thank you. Alison Barber there has just posted his
at Greg J. Stoker. At Greg J. Stoker. I just want to share this clip because it's a very emotive clip. This is footage that Anas al-Sharif became sort of famous for, in a sense, when the first ceasefire or a ceasefire was announced. I don't know if you remember that. It was about a year ago. And it was announced on Al Jazeera. And oh my God, do you remember across Gaza, children, elderly, men and women, literally joyful in the streets. And we were like, I just don't believe it. I just don't believe it. I don't believe it. Because we knew that Netanyahu would renegade almost immediately. And he did. But this is a moment. Yeah.
This is the moment.
Sorry.
Go on.
التي أرهقتني طوال هذه الفترة وأيضا هذا الدرع الذي كان جزء من جسدي خلال هذه المدة وخلال هذه الفترة الطويلة والذي كان على مدار الوقت يرافقني والآن نعلن هنا من داخل قطاع غزة ومن داخل مدينة غزة هذا الإعلان ووقف إطلاق النار للمواطنين.
His celebration of a ceasefire doesn't look like a man wanting to kill Israel. It's
like a man wanting peace.
A man wanting peace, absolutely. Now, we are going to show the footage from last night. This is the footage of the strike. This is the aftermath. It has got to a point now where we need to show this kind of footage. We need everyone to understand just how God-fucking awful this is. But trigger warning, if you want to look away, I would look away for, let me just work out how long it is.
We'll tell you when to
next 50 seconds.
ارجع لورا افتح الطريق انا سامع محمد قريقه حاط محمد قريقه محمد يا حبيبي قريقه انس الشريف يمكن عايش خذوا جوا يمكن عايش طيب استنى شوي خذوا جوا عبروا جوا يا راجل يا جماعه ما تشيلوا يلا
the fear and the panic. He was so adored, wasn't he, by his... And I'm just thinking, I suppose when you've been in so many dangerous situations for 2 years, well, and before, but you probably get to a point where you almost think you're going to make it. You know what I mean? You've swerved so many. And I can see that in the shock of his colleagues.
Yeah.
He's gone. Whereas, of course, he's gone. He was always going to have a target on him, wasn't he?
Yeah. Mars sums it up. Look, it's exactly what I feel after, maybe you saw yesterday's live. Netanyahu ordered this strike after he smirked at his press conference, saying he'd ensure journalistic safety in Gaza. It's psychopathic behavior. That's the part of it, the contrast, the juxtaposition of him smirking in true villain style about maybe being able to ensure the kind of security of some of the world's press, and then the next day takes out 5 journalists in a targeted attack. It's ghastly. And, and the problem here is we have this problem. Trump is about to kibosh Ireland for boycotting Israel. He's about to punish them with tariffs. Apparently, behind the scenes, someone has said to, I think, the one of the ambassadors to the UK from America said to Starmer, butt out of this now. It's like everyone's saying, keep out. It's so sinister. This is so sinister what America is doing, how America is supporting this, how America is holding all these other countries through finance and tariffs and control. It's mobster rule. It is mobster rule. Just so catastrophic. And Miss Anne Harriman has posted a series of photos, a carousel of photos. These are all images of the various, across the 2 years, shots of journalists who have been killed routinely across time, who aren't considered by the West or Israel to be journalists because they're Palestinian. Because they're racists. You know, as I said,
look at this, attacking the idea of attacking a funeral. Attacking a funeral.
These young people. Remember when she died?
God.
This is him with his child. And to put a press jacket on
is to put a target.
Is to put a target on you. So why would you, if you were a Hamas operative, put a target on you?
But you know, even that, the way they bravely continued to wear them because they needed that to report. You know what I mean? They wanted them to take the vests off.
Yeah, these are the names of some of them. It's just awful. It's just awful. And obviously, he, being the highest profile of the five, he's getting all of the sort of major tributes. But let's not forget that in there are also Ibrahim Zahir, Mohammed Orike, Mohammed Nufal, and Moamin Aliwa.
Ibrahim Zahir. Yeah.
So I just want to quickly just go to the latest news coming out of on the live feed. Just bear with me 1 second. So 7 were killed in the strike, and it included 5 journalists. In other news, I'm just having a look at what other news. There are no other. IDFs claim to have posted the claims that he was a Hamas operative on X, I think earlier in July. And Australia, I believe, is going to recognize a Palestinian state, which is causing anger, obviously, with Netanyahu.
It's a photo from Children Not Numbers. Shocking. Look at these photos of children being bombed, just being piled high with the worst injuries you can imagine.
So awful. So, you know, where is the outrage? Where is that? Why Starmer and Lammy, what are they going to just do? Accept the press release? What can be done? What should happen now? I mean, everyone should approach all of the broadcasters and say, why are you only reporting this through the lens of the Israeli claims? Why are you not just reporting it as fact? I mean, to be fair to The Guardian, they are. But we just never hear from our so-called leaders, do we? We never hear from our so-called leaders.
Well, David Lammy playing fishing with Vance. I mean, it's just, does he not even care about the optics anymore? No. You're off fishing, laughing, having some boy time.
In other news, obviously over the weekend, Palestine action protests, occurred. The front page of the Observer apparently was the only paper that kind of presented the image as a peaceful protest. It was a photograph of a peaceful protest.
Of hundreds of people sat in Parliament Square, cross-legged, with a sign saying, I condemn genocide, or I don't support genocide, and then a Palestine action written underneath. And they were, and every walk of life. And, you know, the footage. Do you remember, actually, when they were prescribed a terrorist group? And I said at the time, I actually feel quite sorry for the police, because how on earth are they going to police this situation? You know, they have got an appeal coming, Palestine Action, haven't they? That amazing
signs like this were being
so
held.
Everybody had exactly the same sign, and there were many videos over the weekend of very elderly people. There was a blind chap. Every walk of life. In fact, when I was at work on Thursday, somebody came up to me and said, "Oh, my mum just wanted me to say to you that she's going to the Parliament Square demonstration, and I was like, oh, and he said she just wanted you to know because you've voiced so much about Palestine and stuff. And I said, and what's the connection? He said, she's a social worker, and she's worked with children all her life, and she can't bear it. And so a real mixture of people who were all over 300 of them arrested under the Terrorism Act. You can watch us talking really carefully because one has to be so careful about what it says, because bam, bam, we could get a knock on the door saying that we're supporting a terrorist group by even discussing it. But even the police said it was a completely unmanageable situation. And so what they had was, they weren't even taken to the police station. They had some kind of stand where they took them, where they booked them in, where they gave them their, I don't know, what would it be, your bail, and told they would have to report at a different time to a police station. And many of them went straight back to Parliament Square, sat down with their sign and sat again, just quietly saying, we are against genocide. A genocide that has been deemed a genocide by countless genocide experts across the world, by, I was quite Amnesty International, over 250-page detailed report naming it a genocide, over 100 accredited, respected charities, calling out for an end to this. But our government, whilst David Lammy was fishing with J.D. Vance and buoying it up, had multiple people arrested under the Terrorism Act. So I'll leave you to make your own decision on how you feel about that.
A number of people have said here, if it's been an enormous recruitment drive for Palestine Action. It's become a much bigger, one has to call it what it is now, a terrorist organisation. So one does have to tread carefully.
Very carefully.
More people were arrested on Saturday than they were in the poll tax riots.
We are living in a country that is getting more and more and more dangerous to speak up. So we have to say it is it has now been prescribed as a terrorist organisation.
Because so many bear traps are being set, not only by the lobby groups, the Zionists, but also by our own government. You've got to tiptoe and tread carefully. It's one of the reasons that not everyone's going to go and get arrested, because of course it curtails many other opportunities and abilities to talk about these things or spread the message or speak about it.
But I do think it's interesting that government have given the police an undoable. They said we can't do this. As what's going to happen next? I mean,
and if it gets bigger and bigger, and also the other problem that they're faced with is this. Of course, the Telegraph and the right-wing media are reporting this as a failure of Starmer. The inability to enact the law. Well, of course, the problem here is that you could argue in not enacting the law fully, because they couldn't, because there were so many, it will embolden others to do the same, and it will become even more unworkable and even bigger. And so this has the potential to really spin out of control for the Labour Party. And it is a total mess, all of their own making. It's all of their own making. They ran at it too quickly. They rushed it too quickly. As we know, we're just talking about the facts here. They bolted Palestine Action in with two other terrorist organizations in the same bill, the same act. So you couldn't vote independently or individually on each. There's a lot of, I think, mistakes they've made. The United Nations legal representatives have declared this an egregious curtailing of the right to protest. I mean, UN, human rights lawyers, Jewish activists have petitioned the government and said that they've made an enormous mistake, and that there is an appeal against it. So,
and Mark read this out a couple of weeks ago. Didn't you? Was it a couple of weeks when Mr. Justin Chamberlain had made his decision on this? And he said...
This is the guy who allowed Palestine Action the appeal.
And he said the prescription order against the Direct Action Group risked considerable harm to the public interest.
Listen to this.
Because of a potential chilling effect on legitimate political speech.
That's a judge.
This is the judge.
The chilling effect.
Yeah. He said, the judge said, if the claimant says the prescription order...
as the claimant says, the prescription order is likely to have a significant chilling effect on the legitimate political speech of many thousands of people that would do considerable harm to the public interests. Reports of the kind of police conduct referred to are liable to have a chilling effect on those wishing to express legitimate political views. This effect can properly be regarded as an indirect consequence of the prescription order.
I consider it reasonably arguable that the prescription order amounts to a disproportionate interference with the Article 10 and Article 11 of the European Convention of Human Rights, freedom of expression and assembly, respectively, of the claimant and others. Which,
let's just remind ourselves, is why parties like Reform and the Conservatives want us out of the European Convention of Human Rights. Now, I talked about something over the weekend or on Friday nights, which I think is quite chilling. We are dealing with Labour, and we are unhappy, and they've brought this law in, and they are by stealth, removing the ability to protest, to talk, to discuss. They're weaponizing it. They're doing nothing. They're appeasing a genocide. But babe, if the Tories listen to Kemi Badenoch, listen to Reform, it will be even worse in 3 years.
Like, don't forget when the Arab community voted against Biden because Biden had kicked off the whole genocide and supplied fully Genocide Joe. He would always be Genocide Joe to me. They voted for Trump, and it was like, of course they weren't going to vote for Biden because Biden had been responsible for so many of their families being slaughtered. But of course we were like panic stricken, knowing that Trump would come in and be even worse. And it's the same with the Tories. They will go much further. She has the coldest of hearts, that woman. She chills me to my bone.
She snitches on people in exams when it's none of her business.
When did you see that video?
So what an absolutely miserable specimen of person.
Did anyone else see the video? And then she was going, I used to snitch on my friends, and I didn't get enough. I was very popular at school, but I didn't get enough credit for snitching on them.
To be fair, the interviewer said to her, "That you sound really annoying. It's really annoying." I mean,
and when she said she had no feelings about the children of Gaza being killed because it's a war. No feelings.
No feelings. You need to worry. What makes a politician? What makes a politician? Because I don't think the best politicians shouldn't be politicians. I don't think people who want to be politicians shouldn't be politicians. Activists.
You should have been a bloody politician.
Activists and humanitarians should be politicians. People who have a care for people. Because most people who want to be politicians for politicianing's sake.
Jane Bentley, does she have any friends?
Controlling psychopathic, sociopathic nut jobs.
I think we ought to read a few comments out because we've had people with him making so many comments. If there's something that you just want to say about the way that you're feeling, let's read a few before we go, because I know so many of you do say you come here because you've got nowhere else to sort of speak.
So Mars, Declassified UK just released a video. They uncovered 2 Israeli IDF doing training in Britain. They recently graduated, returned to Israel to be high-ranking IDFs.
Wow. What about the spy planes as well?
Still going. Mayor, never trust the police. Corruption aside, minorities have always said the police do not serve you, they serve society, and those aren't necessarily the same thing. In Mayor's opinion, we have to tread carefully there, Mayor. I wonder how many stepped down. I really do, Tony Loza. Actually, sorry, I'm just trying to pick my way. Feels like RMS. Feels like our MPs work for Israel. He advertises himself as a friend of theirs.
They all do. They constantly say it.
Yeah.
How can you say, imagine if the tables were turned here and this was an Arab nation, right? Can you imagine if 20,000 white children, and remember, I always have to say it, this is a very conservative number because we can't count the babies that have been thrown sky high and obliterated. Can you imagine if it was the other way around? Can you imagine if it was 20,000 children from London? It was 20,000 Israeli children. It was 20,000 American children. Can you imagine? Just that's what you have to keep saying to yourself. If this was turned around the other way, what would we be hearing?
Exactly.
If it was one.
Yeah, Jane Bentley, who would want to be a friend of hers in reference to Badenoch, absolutely. Children are innocent, says Clodagh, even in war, they haven't done anything wrong. How can any woman say that in reference to Badenoch?
I know.
Erica, I missed your comment earlier. Sorry, Erica. I am so frustrated, angry, and feel so heartbroken. Have a hard time being hungry, to be honest.
And I know Zoe was saying a number of times earlier that she just feels so like distraught with it. And Jordan, hi Jordan.
Jordan hoping with everything I've got that Reform and the Conservatives do not get in. Well, one has to
Well,
also
we have to, you know, take action on that.
Yeah, well, hopefully Jeremy Corbyn and Zara Sultana. But again, they have to fight a system that is tipped against them. Devastated for Palestinians and bloody angry at our chuffing government, Helena B. Sorry, I'm too upset beyond words today. Yeah. It is debilitating, isn't it? Bald last night, Lou Murphy, sweetheart, sending love. Keep thinking this will be the turning point, but then nothing changes. Claire Max plays, just one more. Yeah. I'm feeling totally broken, and I'm so thankful this is my safe space. I've fallen out with one of my brothers over Gaza. Oh, he lectured me about supporting people in another country. We don't speak. Sweetie. That's so hard. The weird thing is we are people in another country to other people in other countries. Yes. We're all people in other countries. Do you know what I mean?
And I mean, you know, what could be some soothing words here? You are, everybody here and everybody that's contributing, you are a part of a change. You are, and you do have individual power. You know, as we say, you know, the papers are reporting this murder today. Okay, the leaning, the wording, that's still a fight. But do not believe for 1 second that if social media hadn't, you know, risen up in the way that it has, none of this would be being reported. So by being here, by all the other accounts the independent news channels that you follow, you are supporting the end to this. And so please do share. You know, we always say, just take our content. We don't care. There's no screen record, do whatever. Share the content, share other people's content. We must put up a list of people, Mark, for people to follow.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, maybe we could do a walk and talk through them as an upload. Do subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell, because we are forever
Mark
updating.
Went live. What time did you go live last night?
Well, no, it was 4 o'clock yesterday.
Oh, it was 4
went live.
Yeah.
And
they were blurring to
but it was in response to the Benjamin Netanyahu, and we were screen recording his speech as it happened. So it's like to get on top of it before the lies and before content actually gets lost. And the other thing I would like to say about social media, the mainstream media would have you think it's all untrustworthy unless it's the legacy media, unless it's the established newspapers. None of them had any issue with social media when it was the so-called Arab Spring and regimes that the West weren't interested in or didn't like were being toppled in the Middle East. They loved social media then. So don't buy into even the selective kind of judgment of the mainstream media around social. If social media hadn't existed, we would not be as aware and as awake as we are to what's going on in Palestine. We just wouldn't. We wouldn't have seen it. We wouldn't have heard it, you know, and the control that Israel exerting. We have a white knuckling imperialist monster of a regime desperately trying to control something that keeps spilling out through its grasp. And this guy and these 5 journalists who've been killed today were part of that, leaking the story out through the controlled, white-knuckled fingers of talons of Netanyahu's government. And long may it continue, and I just hope it does continue. So, you know.
And can I say there is nothing like solidarity and standing up with good people. Just to, Marco, I think that's really important, because I think that's so true. It's so hard to live in today's world. All of us are busy working and saving and tired all the time. We're economically ravaged, which is why there's no revolution against this stuff, because we're tired. Yeah.
They've got us on our knees.
But do believe in the smallest pebble causing a ripple. It does, the smallest pebble. For instance, what Mark said earlier about that link, and about making it known. Like if tens of thousands of people make that complaint about the way that Sky changed that headline, it will get changed.
And they'll think about it the next time, hopefully.
Yeah. So go to Mark_Doghouse and click on that link.
No, Mark_Adderley.
Actually, should we put it
Mark_Adderley. You can't put a link.
Oh,
okay.
Thanks, guys. Again, please subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything. It really helps us. And you know what? It's just so nice to see our community growing, and hit that notification bell in case we suddenly go live. You don't want to miss it. And tonight is our members area live. politics free. It's a way where we just hang out. We have a huge laugh. We cook. Mark usually annoys the hell out of me.
Yeah, I have my sort of odd little corner of chat.
Yeah, our members area, I think, is the cheapest on the entire internet because it's £1.99 a month.
And it is politics free. It's as important to us as it is to some of you guys to just escape it just for an hour.
Escape an hour, and yeah, if you're new to the channel, have a look around. We've got some really fun stuff that goes on here. Travel vlogs, cookery. We've been here years. You know, this we didn't set up at Gaza. We've been here a long
going
time.
for years too.
Saturdays, Curly Cooks was just lovely.
Yeah, it really was.
It was really lovely. We went out into the garden. We had a barbecue. I did a beer can chicken, and the girls said it was simply the best thing they'd ever eaten. So have a little go at that. Have a little bit of escapism. You've sat with us here for an hour. Mark and I will now try and completely decompress from this because we have to stay strong, all of us, to keep on. Yesterday, I had to have a bit of time out because I know when my mental health came down in the morning, didn't I? I was just in tears. I was anxious. I was like, so make sure you have the breaks. Don't feel guilty about having the breaks.
Recharging.
We have to recharge so we can just keep being a voice for people.
These have to be charged, so do you.
Brutal boot on their necks. So thank you so much.
Thank you, team. All right, guys. Stay safe. Lots of love. Bye.